Anaheim Ducks hockey is brought to you by Honda, official vehicle of the NHL and Anaheim Ducks. And by Toshiba, leading innovation. Well, the Ducks have lost both of the previous games against the Sharks, including one in a shootout. They won't see them again until March the 20th after tonight, so they're going to want to try to leave them with a good message here tonight. Time for tonight's Keys to the Game is brought to you by our helpful SoCal Honda dealers. To the Anaheim bench we go, and with those, here's Lisa Hillary.
John, thank you very much. You're assistant coach Bob Woods. Bob, what areas, given Sunday's loss, have you addressed with your team?
Well, again, we can't turn pucks over. You know, on a big thing, they're a very structured team, so you make mistakes, they usually make you pay. I thought we did a lot of bad pinches, bad decisions, which give them a number of situations, so try to avoid that.
Thanks, Bob. Good luck.
Thank you.
John?
Thanks, Lisa. Brad Watson and Justin St. Pierre are the referees. Mike Civic and Brad Kovacic are the linesmen. We're underway. The Ducks in their third jerseys, their home blacks, and the Sharks in their road whites, and we get an icing call against the Ducks just 7 seconds in.
Exactly. Koivu's looking around for a linesman. He thought there was a touch in the neutral zone. There was not. So right off the bat, a key defensive zone faceoff. And this is another area, John, that the Ducks are going to have to improve on head-to-head against the Sharks this season. San Jose has really dominated play in the faceoff circle.
Logan Couture, over 54% in the circle this year, wins the draw, but the Ducks step in and take it back. And Winnick to center will take it off the boards, tipping it in. Jumps around Irvin and gets it to the front of the net. Boy, good play there by Daniel Winnick. And he nearly creating a little havoc in the San Jose zone, ends up forcing the Sharks to ice the puck.
I love the way that Hampus Lindholm got a hold of that puck in the defensive zone, got his legs moving, and immediately headman the puck up to Daniel Winnick. A little bit of hold there on Irvin. He used that free hand to impede Daniel Winnick from getting to that loose puck.
So the Getzlaf line comes out with the new look that Brian mentioned at the top of the show. Jakob Silverberg on the left wing. Perry pulls it off the end board, steps in front and missed the mark. Fowler's one-timer looking for a tip from Perry, goes wide. Lovejoy steps up the boards and Silverberg supports, rimming it around for Ryan Getzlaf. The Ducks captain gives it back, and now Perry keeps the cycle going. To the line, Perry able to hold the zone, and then his bid is blocked. Patrick Marleau just taps it back.
Yeah, good shift for the Ducks big line to open things up. They get the puck down low. They kick it back to the point a couple of times. And overall, some pretty good possession time here. Remember, we talked about this last game, John, the fact that the Getzlaf line in the 2 games against San Jose have both been minus. At the end of the night, they would like to rectify that this evening.
Sharks work it into the Anaheim zone. Burns pass, skips across. Thornton gives chase. Takes it away from Palmieri for Burns in the slot. And he got a shot away, got to his own rebound. Oh, and he chopped it over top. As was the case Sunday early in the game, Brent Burns making his mark. Stewart's point shot deflects around the boards, and Pavelski runs it down. Open at the point is Justin Braun. Again, Stewart, the wrister, that goes wide. And Valesky rips it across the zone off the skate of Palmieri.
What an opportunity for Brent Burns. I thought that Brent Burns was pretty much given a free pass a couple of nights ago in San Jose. The Ducks were not physical enough with him, and he's a big, strong guy. It's not an easy thing to do, but you let him run around in the offensive zone, and you're going to have problems all night long.
2-on-1, the Sharks take the puck away from Lindholm down low. And Kennedy trying to force it in front for Kearns. Freddie Hamilton now centering this line, just recalled from the American League. Worcester, number 75 in the middle of this line with Kennedy and Bracken Kearns. Kennedy lays it back for Kearns. Drop pass to Hamilton, whose shot is blocked, and the Ducks counter back. Kearns with that goal the other night became the oldest Shark ever to score his first NHL goal at 32 years of age and 231 days in just his 8th regular season NHL game. Now it's Vatanen on his horse into the San Jose zone for Silverberg, who takes it off his skate. Stewart forces him wide, loose to the side of the net, and the Sharks will get there. Pavelski banks it up the wall, and Silverberg did not get to the point in time to hold it in.
John, I want to go all the way back and look at those opportunities that Brent Burns had on his first shift of the hockey game. I mentioned how big and strong he is. If you just work on the stick of Brent Burns, you're going to lose that battle. He got to one puck. He got to a second. He actually chopped at the third. And Jonas Hiller gets a little piece of this chop right there with the elbow, and then it deflects over top of the net. So Brent Burns comes close, very close to opening the scoring once again.
Face-off controlled by the Sharks and through the middle of the ice. Desjardins got a touch on it, so no icing. And now behind the play, Pat Maroon mixing it up with Mike Brown. And Brown has Maroon all twisted up as he delivers a few left hands.
Mike Brown is not a big guy. He's got that low center of gravity. And he got a little bit of a jump on Patrick Maroon, got him in a tough spot, and landed a couple. I think Pat Maroon, he's done a little bit of talking that he thought that the Sharks took a couple of liberties with his teammates a couple of nights ago. Brown gives him the first shot. And it's the balance of Mike Brown that actually gives him the edge the rest of the way in that little scrap.
Brown 3 times in his NHL career has exceeded 100 penalty minutes. He played over 100 games, of course, with the Ducks between 2008 and 2010. So the fans here at Honda Center know his game. They know what he's about. And they know what he's capable of.
Just over 100 games with the Ducks, 166 penalty minutes during his tenure here. So he's a guy that you always felt like you were getting your money's worth out of Mike Brown. Knows what his role is. Goes about his business very quietly.
Ben Lovejoy puts it up on the glass off the face-off as a couple of 5-minute majors for fighting on Maroon and Mike Brown. Long shot by Perry, handled by Niemi as it went in and out of his glove. The Ducks recover it momentarily. Desjardins, though, brings it back. On left wing for Joe Thornton. Tried to cut into the middle, but Lovejoy would have nothing to do with that, and he rolls it right back on the San Jose net. Not yet 4 minutes into the game. Sharks with a couple of shots on goal. The Ducks have one, no score. As the outlet finds Thornton at center. He dumps it to the corner, and this will be an icing call. As Silverberg would have been there first, a new member of the Ducks family entering the world today. Congratulations to Ben Lovejoy and his wife Avery, the birth of their first child. Lila, their daughter, born at 10:24 this morning. So Ben missed the morning skate and he was excused.
Yeah, you know that he also missed an awful lot of sleep probably last night. But I'll tell you what, a great moment for Ben and his wife Avery. And I guarantee you, he's not going to feel tired in this game whatsoever.
Couture taps it across the slot. Pavelski couldn't get to it. And he jousts with Cogliano right to the front of the net. Nieto, the Long Beach native. And Hiller makes the point-blank save. Matt Nieto told me 2 days ago in San Jose he was really looking forward to this one. Here's Marleau. He misses the net as he had to go back against the grain to get it to his forehand.
That was one of those turnovers, John, that you heard Bob Woods referencing. The Sharks thrive on them. They've got such great speed to counterattack with.
Here's another one as Couture took it away from Winnick. Boyle coming in late, tips it over. Marleau turned away. Hiller with a couple of sprawling saves.
What a save by Jonas Hiller. Marleau had him dead to rights. Hiller was down seemingly and out, but he was sliding and under control all the time, kept his body close, and made the first big stop of the game.
I think he made 2 saves on Marleau here, Brian.
Well, it's the rebound one that I'm talking about where he's sliding across. Oh, my. It was Sami Vatanen.
Yeah.
Sami Vatanen gets into the crease and pulls one off the goal line. What a play by the young defenseman.
Vatanen, a player that usually is lauded for his offensive exploits, but he just took one off the scoreboard for the Sharks there. Sammy draws back in after being a healthy scratch Sunday in San Jose. And he carries from behind his own net, reverses it for Hampus Lindholm. We haven't seen the 2 young guys together on defense a whole lot this season, Brian, but it's Lindholm and Vatanen together right now. Mark-Edouard Vlasic handles in the San Jose zone, and through a seam he finds Hamilton. leading scorer in Worcester at the time of his recall. Hamilton's bid is held by Jonas Hiller.
Well, the Sharks have been riddled with injuries all of a sudden to their forwards. You know, Raffi Torres has been gone. They put Marty Havlat on IR, and they announced that the great young rookie, Tomas Hertl, undergoing surgery tomorrow, could be gone as long as the rest of this regular season. So Tom McLellan is forced to rely on some of these youngsters coming up from the minor leagues, and they have not looked out of place so far in tonight's game.
Young Freddie Hamilton will turn all of 22 years of age in a couple of hours. He's a New Year's baby. So a bit of a birthday present for Hamilton as he gets the recall. Here's Palmieri, gets inside on Irwin, and his shot blocked. A penalty coming up to the Sharks. It's been a tough start for Matt Irwin, as first Winnick got around him, and this time it was Palmieri's turn.
Yeah, I thought he got away with one on Winnick, not so much against Kyle Palmieri. There's going to be a little hook here. He goes outside in, and you can see Irwin reaching a little bit of a hook to send him to the penalty box. A little bit of a grab right there with the right arm again.
Penalty is on Dan Boyle.
Wow, what for?
And he's the defense partner of Irwin. Did they call? Now they're going to get the right guy, because Boyle went into the box, and he'll come out. Irwin will take a seat.
Kind of a cagey move by Dan Boyle, who is not a penalty-killing defenseman. Matt Irwin actually is. A nice try, a little grin from Dan Boyle over on the Sharks bench.
A wry smile from the 14-year veteran. Two-time All-American in Miami of Ohio. Boyle says, well, I got a 2 on the back of my sweater. I just figured that's who he was talking to. Pavelski starts out shorthanded into the Anaheim zone. Fowler takes him wide, and he chips it to the corner. Marleau pressures. Always a threat shorthanded, Patrick Marleau.
Johnny, neither team has scored a power play goal thus far in the 2 games head-to-head this regular season.
Silverberg across the line on his off wing, has to peel it back. Fowler across now for Getzlaf. Bonino. Nice pass through the seam. Fowler, one more pass, and the stick of Silverberg was tied up.
Yeah, it was a nice play there by Brad Stewart. He got into the passing lane, disrupted the attempted cut.
Good puck movement on the power play early on for the Ducks, as now Getzlaf handles at the line. Bonino off the half wall, gets it back to the captain. In front, Silverberg again had his stick tied up at the moment of truth. That time it was Marleau got a little hook on it. Recovered by Bonino. Great work there by Nick. Back to the line for Fowler. Silverberg looks up, fires, big rebound just off the end of Getzlaf's stick. Perry from the other side, and then again to the line. Gets it back from Fowler, curls to the middle, fires. Another big rebound. Silverberg knocked to his knees as he went after it. Perry comes in to rescue the puck.
Penalty killer's gassed. Oh, that is a tough turnover right there.
Bonino is looking for Getzlaf, but it got picked off. And it's Justin Braun who will try to skate a little time off the clock. Getzlaf's been out the whole time. He'll go to the bench for a change. Solani races into the San Jose zone. Off the boards to himself and bounced it right through the goal crease. 10 seconds left to the penalty to Matt Irwin. And now it's Lindholm carrying the mail for Solani. Nice pass back to Valesky. Poked off his stick. Ducks keep it alive only to see Vlasic clear out of the box. Irwin. Anaheim comes up empty on the game's first power play.
John, I was impressed with the Sharks and their penalty killing. On a couple of occasions, the Ducks were moving the puck around really effectively. Just couldn't get that puck through the middle of the penalty killing box, however.
In the last 8 games between these two teams, they've combined for 1 power play goal. That's 1 for 46 going back to last season series. Maybe the video scouting works, at least for the penalty kill. Not so much for the power play.
Yeah. It's very one-sided, I would say, in that exchange. But I will say this, San Jose is also a team that does not take a lot of penalties. So you don't get a ton of opportunities to score on the power play against them.
For the Ducks, just their 5th power play against the Sharks in 3 meetings this season. These are two of the least penalized teams in the league. The Sharks take the second fewest penalties per game. The Ducks the sixth fewest. No score with 11:10 to go in the opening period. Kennedy serves it in, and Kearns hard in on the forecheck. Lovejoy able to move it along, and Fowler cuts against the grain. Gets center red, hard around and in. Palmieri goes after it. Vlasic reverses it for Demers. And it's speed at center ice. Nieto trying to feed Couture. He's bumped behind the net by Lovejoy. Tries to center. Palmieri, nice little move after he picked the pass off, and he finds some daylight at center.
Well, what a pace to start this hockey game. I mean, we said going into the game that this tilt features two of the biggest, fastest teams in the Western Conference. In the first 9.5 minutes of this game, I'm not disappointed. They are flying.
The term lickety-split comes to mind. This game is moving along. Into the slot, a blocker save on Burns by Hiller. Again, it's Brent Burns getting the best chances early. But the Ducks have kept the Sharks off the board thus far.
The Ducks don't score on the power play. They get a couple of good chances. Ryan Getzlaf swats at the rebound, can't make contact. And then Corey Perry's shot, this looks very, very similar. But look at the quick stick of Brad Stewart. I think the Sharks really excelled in that regard on that first power play sequence. There was Brent Burns, his shot. But Burns has been by far the most dangerous San Jose forward thus far in this evening's game.
Burns on a bit of a tear, 7 points in his last 3 games, including 3 goals, and a goal and an assist on Sunday night at the SAP Center in San Jose. Justin Braun's shot over everything rattles the glass off the face-off in the Anaheim zone. Burns sealed off by Lovejoy, but it's Braun who moves up the wall to keep it alive. Pass to the point intercepted by Perry. Nice move into the middle for Silverberg. Pulls back and has it knifed off his stick. Again, it's Stewart. Brad Stewart's been all over the ice defensively for the Sharks in this first period. Lovejoy angles it around, and Getzlaf gets to it.
Tom McCollum wants Stewart on the ice whenever Getzlaf and Perry are out there for the Ducks. With a big body, very experienced player.
Probably the most physical of the Blue Liners dressed tonight for San Jose. A veteran is in his second tour with the Sharks. He left for a while and won a Stanley Cup as a member of the Detroit Red Wings back in 2008. He was part of that infamous trade that brought Joe Thornton to San Jose from Boston. Delayed penalty coming up to the Ducks. And as Winnick touches up, call will be made. It's a holding call. It will give the Sharks their first power play chance of the night when we return. No score at Honda Center.
Daniel Winnick sits for holding. He wrapped his arms right around Matt Nieto. Nieto's got great speed, and he got a little bit of separation away from Winnick. And when you take one hand off the stick in the defensive zone, especially I think against those smaller, ultra-quick players like Nieto, you run the risk of exactly that happening.
First power play of the night for the Sharks. They're 0 for 7 in 2 games against the Ducks this year, and there's a tip by Thornton, fought off by Hiller.
Boy, Hiller has just been sensational in this opening period. The Ducks, again, turn another puck over, John. And that's 4 or 5 times that those turnovers have led directly to San Jose scoring chances.
Dan Boyle up the middle, and Pavelski gains the line only to have it knocked off his stick. Couture pinches. He's covering the point, and Pavelski covering that point for him, kept it in. Marlowe for Thornton below the goal line. Around for Boyle. Couture touches it. Thornton loses his footing. His return pass hit the skate of Koivu, and then Couture hoists it over top.
Well, that did not miss by much.
Not at all.
Couture, ever dangerous, and boy, you know, he's feeling good, John. He scored last game after going goalless for 11. And once a scorer gets a little bit of confidence and momentum going his way, watch out.
Burns strides in after it. Lovejoy knocks it away, and going against the grain, Fowler clears the zone. I'm not sure that was textbook, but the puck came out. Couture through center. Now Nieto lays it back. Irwin tees it up, blocked. And it comes right to Silverberg, who takes his time and feathers it down the near side wall.
Lovejoy and Fowler, again, that get the job done defensively for the Ducks on the penalty kill. Boy, who would have thought that that tandem would have been so effective this season in so many different ways.
Couture's pass broken up, and Perry will do the honors. 10 seconds left in the San Jose power play as Vlasic moves it ahead and gets it back from Couture. Sharks gain the zone. Couture flips it in. It's in the glove of Hiller. The penalty to Winnick is over, and the trend continues. These teams just don't score goals on one another on the power play.
Well, here's that last turnover by the Ducks. They had possession in the neutral zone. Joe Thornton gets one chance. The second one is just a beautiful stop. The left leg of Jonas Hiller. With the blocker, boy, you saw that puck just kind of bouncing crazily, but because Hiller is pushing into the shot, it allows him at least a chance to make a save on the rebound.
Off the face-off, Vatanen headmans to center. Both teams 0 for 1 with the extra man tonight. And Maroon crashing in on the forecheck. He had Justin Braun caught between him and the boards. Now Braun strides the other way. He's got Shepard with it. Shoots it, a glove save by Hiller. The rebound swatted out of harm's way by Brian Allen. This will be icing.
I want to go back to something that Bob Wood said earlier about pinches or defensemen trying to do too much and join the rush. When you do that, you give up 2-on-1 sometimes. And Jonas Hiller just kind of fights off that shot, squeezes the elbow up against the body. And I think the expression on Bob Wood's face says it all, John. The Ducks continue to make the same types of mistakes they made a couple of nights ago.
Matthew Perreault wins the faceoff. Oh, boy. They're going to call this icing. There's a couple of Sharks players who probably could have touched that puck, but nonetheless, they'll drop it again in the Anaheim zone. Fans, this season when the Ducks score 5 goals or more in a game, you'll get 5 free wings from Hooters. All you have to do is print the coupon from AnaheimDucks.com and then head to Hooters, your destination for free wings in Southern California. Perreault wins the draw again, and the Ducks ice the puck again. As Brian Allen a little frustrated as he thought he was trying to outlet the puck, but missed the mark. So once again, in the dot to the left of Jonas Hiller, Matthew Perreault will be asked to win his 3rd straight faceoff. Pavelski steps in to oppose him. If he were to get thrown out, Thornton could step in. He's a 54% option. Puck tipped out center ice, and Solani had his stick lifted by Burns. Otherwise, that could have been 2-on-1 with Maroon. Burns comes back for Thornton. Pulls it in, tries to make a pass. It's broken up. Stewart holds it in. Thornton in the corner. Now behind the net for Pavelski. Burns parked in front. Pavelski's backhander shoveled aside by Jonas Hiller. Fowler moves it up. It's tipped to the line, not out. Stewart throws it to the far corner, and Fowler again is on it. For Sammy Vatanen. Now Solani, who angles it through neutral ice.
Brent Burns is just a huge factor in this game.
Marlowe races in, shoots, and Hiller closes down the left arm and squeezes long enough to get the whistle. It's been the Jonas Hiller show early on. It's time for Who Got It Done, brought to you by YP.com, the new way to do. And Brian, we've had our friends at StatSync looking at this one for quite some time. There was a lot of research involved. Tonight, Andrew Cogliano becomes just the 5th player in NHL history to put a 500 games played streak together to begin his NHL career.
Yeah, remarkable accomplishment for Cogliano. He's a guy that no one is on this list, by the way, if they're not willing to play games hurt. Cogliano has done that over the course of his career, and he's not a guy that avoids. Oh, stop. My goodness. Logan Couture just looked skyward on the redirect as Jonas Hiller snares it with the right hand. Hiller's in the zone, and he has had to be. The Sharks have got 7 grade A scoring chances already in this hockey game. The Ducks, by the way, have only got 1. There's the redirect, and Hiller says, thank you very much.
Going back to the Cogliano games played streak, there's There's only been 20 games played streaks of 500 games or more in NHL history. So to do it off the top and begin your career is remarkable, but just to do it in general is fairly rare. And here he is into the San Jose zone, trying to get it to the front of the net. And that puck came up and hit Irwin in the face. He's in a little distress. Cogliano gets it back and now puts it below the goal line. Winning. Kept to the outside by Irwin. Finds Koivu. Steps out. Put it right through the crease. And the stick of Cogliano was tied up by Couture. Sharks have done a good job of keeping the Ducks from getting to rebounds and getting to scoring opportunities, whether they've just been tying up sticks or recovering well defensively. Here's Kearns. Finds and fires on a left pad save by Hiller. His 15th save of the opening 15 and a half minutes. The Sharks have had 4 games this season with 50 shots on goal or more. And in the early going, at least, they're on pace to do it again here tonight. They have peppered Hiller. Demers shot blocked on the way. Vlasic looking for a tip from Kennedy, and it goes behind the net. Molesky takes the hit, but makes the play, and now it's Palmieri into the San Jose zone. Vlasic falls down. Palmieri tries to center. It comes out to Lovejoy. And Bonino had it knocked off his stick. Hamilton loses a puck battle along the near wall. Bonino forced Demers deep, and Palmieri got a bump on him. Molesky put it to the net. They score! Palmieri in front may have gotten a piece of it. The Ducks strike first.
Kyle Palmieri back in the lineup, and he produces again. And it starts with some good hits. There's Molesky along the boards. Puck is going to come down into the corner. Palmieri with a real nice bump. As the puck comes back to the point, he gets to the front of the net. You see 2 Anaheim players in front of Niemi. And you can see that it gets past the San Jose players. It may have gone off the defenseman Demers there, John. It looked from that angle, but Ducks don't much care. They've got the 1-0 lead.
Ryan, sometimes there's no justice in this game. The Sharks had the last 10 shots on goal. And Anaheim has a 1-0 lead. Irwin sends it wide of the Ducks' goal, and Mike Brown sweeps it deep. James Shepard collides with Bond into the corner. Brian Allen with a loose puck ahead for Solani. And Maroon gets it into the San Jose zone. Patrick Maroon wins a puck battle at the hash marks. He speeds it around. Lovejoy gets to it. Bad angle shot, and Niemi will hold that. And then Perreault sent sprawling at the side of the net.
Yeah, Boyle got his stick up into the face of Matthew Perreault. Perreault was kind of looking at the referee saying, see that one, huh? Lovejoy just kind of shoots from a severe angle, no rebound, and there's the elbow, the back of the head by Dan Boyle.
But Matthew Perreault feels like nobody's watching him. He thought he scored a goal on Sunday night in San Jose. And referee Kyle Raymond said no. They reviewed it. They still said no. And all our replays said that the puck went in the net. So the conversations as the players head to the bench. Perry turned away on a one-timer. Gets it again. Great glove save by Niemi.
Bang, bang play. First Perry denied on the one-timer, and then he had little time and space and tried to roof it glove hand side, and Antti Niemi just took it away from him. What a great sequence for the Sharks goaltender.
He hasn't been nearly as busy as Hiller, but it was his turn.
You could see that Corey Perry got away in a hurry, but credit Antti Niemi for snapping that glove hand up into position early, John. A little bit of a guess involved from Niemi, but it's a good guess.
Here's a San Jose turnover. Getzlaff and another big rebound off of Niemi, but Burns is able to clear it aside. Pavelski flips it over top of the Anaheim goal. And Anaheim able to clear the zone. So it's a single assist to Bolesky on the Palmieri goal. At 16-24, 1-0 Anaheim. The shots are 15-8 in favor of the Sharks. And Silverberg comes out of the corner with the puck. Ahead to Getzlaf, who tips it deep. Anaheim will roll a change. 2 minutes to go in a fast-paced opening period that has been all about the goaltenders. Braun hard around into the Anaheim zone. Oshmark reverses it, and Lindholm with space. Into the middle of the ice, Koivu joined by Winnick. Winnick's shot is blocked. And it comes out center. Lindholm hinges over to get to it. He kind of plumped it up the boards. And now he comes back to his partner, Francois Beauchemin. Agliano offside as he brings it in. Winnick was ahead of the play. A reminder coming up later on in our broadcast, you can enjoy a cold one with us as we will share Miller Time with you. As brought to you by Miller Lite, one of the key moments in tonight's hockey game.
John, this is a situation that the Sharks have not been in very often, and that is trailing in the opening period of a hockey game. They've just blown the doors off people by having great first periods. The Ducks get another 5-on-5 goal, and that has been their strength. Anaheim now plus 28 in 5-on-5 play this season.
The Sharks had 15 of the game's first 18 shots on goal. Since then, the Ducks have had the last 5 as a bit of a momentum turn in the latter stages of the period in favor of Bruce Boudreau's club.
I think if you ask Bruce Boudreau, were you guys better in the first 10 minutes? He'd say, no, but our goaltender certainly was way better because Hiller, he was there for that big push from the Sharks in the early going, that's for sure.
Hiller riding a career high and franchise record 8-game personal winning streak coming into tonight. It's not lost in the month of December. And his numbers have been remarkable. He's a goals against of under 2 and a save percentage of over 93% in 9 games this month. Palmieri looking for another one, and that's off of Irwin and out of play. Under a minute now to go in the first period.
You know, this line is not the biggest line, certainly, on the Ducks lineup with Celeste and Palmieri on the wings, but they've started throwing their body around. And the hits, it makes a huge difference when you plant a seed in your opponent's mind that when they handle the puck, they're going to get drilled into the boards. That's when they make mistakes and turn pucks over. Boudreau has been saying that to his players for some time now. He feels like his team has gotten away with playing a few of what he calls soft games and still getting wins, but not against good quality clubs like the San Jose Sharks. Is that going to happen?
Well, you get the feeling Kyle Palmieri might be setting up for a big second half. He now has 3 goals, 5 points, and +6 in his last 5 games. Here's Thornton. And a good recovery by Perry, but he's going to be penalized as he got the stick in on the hand. Stewart drifts it over top. To the bench goes Niemi, the extra attacker on for the Sharks. Pavelski rims it around the wall. 15 seconds remains in the period as Perry touches up, and he'll go to the box.
Yeah, and no complaint from Corey Perry. Joe Thornton got in behind Perry inside the Anaheim blue line, and it was a 2-on-1. Thornton was looking for the pass, but as he was about to shoot, there's the chop on the hands by Corey Perry. Denies Thornton of a point-blank scoring chance. But now with just 14.8 remaining, San Jose is going to get another power play opportunity.
So the key to the penalty kill here may be as simple as winning the face-off, and you can get to the intermission if you can clear the zone. Sharks' second opportunity with the extra man tonight as Thornton steps in to take the draw. And he wins it. Boyle slides it over. It's Pavelski, and his shot deflected wide of the net as the forward manning the point. They get it back to Boyle. 3 seconds in the period. Thornton just fires. Oh, it went through Hiller and came out the other side. They score, but I don't know if there's any time on the clock. Marlowe got to the rebound. But they may have to go to video review on this one.
They will. There's no question that they will. The initial shot went through Jonas Hiller and out the other side. The Sharks were quick to retrieve the rebound and make another play on the net. But this one is going to be decided by the situation room in Toronto. Here's the shot that goes through Hiller. It's off the post and out. The rebound, he makes an incredible save. And then you can see that the second rebound goes to Marleau, and he shoots it in the back of the net.
I don't think this is going to count.
Well, look at the clock. We will see for sure right here. It's not going to count. Boy, what a break for the Ducks. I mean, first of all, Hiller gets a break with a puck that goes through him. He makes a miraculous stop on the first rebound, and Patrick Marleau is a split second late getting that puck over the line. So Anaheim living right. What a sensational goaltending performance from Jonas Hiller in the opening 20 minutes tonight, John. The only reason why Anaheim will escape into their locker room with a 1-0 lead.
You say lucky, I say that's all he gave him.
You know what? It's funny you say that. When a goaltender is confident and playing, you tend to get the bounces, and Jonas Hiller just got a bounce.
I thought they had already made the announcement in the building, Brian, but you can see the captains are hanging around. The entire Sharks bench still has the roster on it. The Ducks have gone to the locker room with the exception of Ryan Getzlaf. And we obviously they're talking to the situation room in Toronto, but I think the looks that we just shared were pretty clear that this is a no goal. And I guess the Sharks can spend the entire intermission on the bench if they want, but I'm not sure that's going to put one up on the scoreboard for him. Brad Watson is over along with Justin St. Pierre, who now will give us the official call. So he washes it off officially in the building, and that makes the partisan Anaheim crowd happy. So the Ducks get great goaltending and some clean living in the opening period. And a Kyle Palmieri goal. And they take the lead to the locker room after 20 minutes of play over the Sharks. 1-0. Anaheim Ducks hockey is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Try the new Fajita Ranch Melt for only $3.99 plus tax at a participating Jack in the Box near you. The Ducks will begin the second period shorthanded, but they have a 1-goal lead after 20 minutes of play here at Honda Center. Well, reward yourself for surviving the holidays. Let's face it, it's no small feat. We made it this far, right? You can still get yourself an Anaheim Ducks holiday pack. They include 2 tickets to 3 upcoming games and Ducks branded neck pillow, amongst other things, and much, much more. Order now at AnaheimDucks.com/holiday pack. We go to the Anaheim bench and Lisa Hillary.
John, thank you. Here with assistant coach Brad Lauer. Brad, Kyle Palmieri told me, despite being up 1-0, he wasn't happy with the first 20 minutes. Are you in agreement with that?
Yeah, we made a lot of mistakes that period. We made too many turnovers, which gave them opportunity, gave them a little bit of life in the first period. But you know, the positive thing is we were able to get 1 goal going in the period here, and just got to build off and down.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Lisa. As far as the Sharks are concerned, the period was about 1 second too short, and Jonas Hiller, as a result, will face the remainder of a San Jose power play as the second period begins.
We got lots of time left on this power play. Got a minute 46 to play with, so all the big guns are over the board once again for the Sharks. It's kind of shocking when you think about it, John. We talked about how ineffective both team power plays have been against one another over the course of the last bunch of games. And you look at the talent that's on the ice in these 2-team rosters, it's almost difficult to comprehend. By the way, when the Sharks score a power play goal in a game, they're undefeated in regulation this season, 14-0-4. That winning percentage of .889 is number 1 in the National Hockey League. So keep them off the board on the power play. You really enhance your chances of winning the game.
Sometimes it's good to be lucky. Sometimes it's lucky to be good. And the Ducks still shorthanded because they were lucky. Not something you say very often. As a minute 46 remains on the penalty to Perry. With the second period now underway. Boyle chasing from behind his own net. Winnick watches him. Pavelski feeds it across. Thornton lays it back. Or excuse me, Couture, and now it's Thornton on the near side. His shot off a leg. Boyle rips it in. Screen in front from Marleau. That one will count. We're tied at 1.
Corey Perry didn't want to leave the box, but this one is ripped into the top shelf by Dan Boyle. There was traffic in front. Francois Boschman is the Anaheim defender who's stationed out high here and watches the puck bounces back. I think it's Boschman that screens his own goaltender. He's the only guy standing in the lane. And Jonas Hill can't pick up the Dan Boyle blast, and it is perfect up into the top corner.
Boyle's 7th goal of the year and the 5th one that has come on the power play. He's amongst the NHL league leaders of defensemen in power play goals. Coming into tonight, he was 3rd. And for so many years, he's been such a big part of this San Jose power play, and the way he can dictate tempo in a hockey game may not be what it once was, but he's still a huge contributor.
He's a really intelligent player, right? I mean, he just seems to have that sense about him. When to shoot the puck, how to get pucks around the initial forward that's standing right in front of him. He kind of shift that mobility, creates shooting lanes.
Pavelski with the hard work and assist as he blocked that initial shot, and it went right to Boyle. So that's a well-earned and hard-earned assist for Joe Pavelski, who now has 17 points on the power play this season, and Pavelski riding a 5-game scoring streak as well. Tied at 1 as Bonino brings it into the San Jose zone, gets it over. Palmieri fumbled it for a minute, didn't pull the trigger, now comes around to the near side, and that's off the stick of Demers.
Where the sticks have been in the shooting lanes all night for the Sharks defenders. They really collapsed down low around below the top of the circles. And I maintain the Ducks have got to get more point shots to open things up.
Maroon drops it to Perreault, and his shot high off of Niemi. That may have hit him in the mask. Stretched the other way. Kearns misses on the short side, and around it comes Hamilton, and it dislodged from his skates. Initially by Solani. Boy, it looked like a delayed offside. Well, it is a delayed offside. Should have been an offside. Perreault brings it back, and Maroon slaps it to the net. On top of the goal, it bounces back into the crease. Oh, it's Niemi's turn to be lucky. Boyle was there. I thought he was going to knock it in his own net. Lindholm finds a wide-open Boschman with a drive and a glove save by Niemi.
Antti Niemi knows that he just gets a huge break. Watch the initial shot here. Off the shoulder, pops up, lands on top of the net, bounces down, he kicks it with the left leg into his own goal post, and it stays out. What a crazy,
You gotta be kidding me.
Crazy end of the ice. Watch this. Kicks it back off the post, knocks it free with his hand. If you're a fan sitting at that end of the rink, you are seeing a ton of action in this game tonight. So I thought the horseshoe was in the pants of Jonas Hiller. Apparently it's embedded in the net somewhere.
It's
John,
in that goal crease down there. Winnick has his stick chopped in half by a slash. Play goes on, and Demers sends it into the Anaheim zone. Quick little outlet pass, and it's Lindholm who joins the rush from Koivu. Pitchforked in on the backhand by Cogliano, and Koivu gets it back. Knocked it away from Marc-Edouard Vlasic, and now works out of the right corner. In front for Winnick. He battles away, and Niemi down on his knees, able to keep it out. Lindholm gets it from Winnick again. Looking for a shooting lane, just throws it across the slot, and Boschman steps up behind the net for Koivu. Francois drifts through the crease, and then the centering pass by Koivu clears the zone.
Good chip here for the Ducks Koivu line. They control the puck down low, and they get a couple of opportunities where they just kind of throw pucks into the front net area.
Fowler bats one away, and the pass from Getzlaf misses Perry. No icing, so Niemi out to touch it. Joe Thornton has time to recover the puck after losing it on the far boards. Demers steps to center and sends it in. 3.5 gone in the second period. An early power play goal for the Sharks has drawn them even. A 1-1 tie. Fowler digs it off the boards across for Lovejoy, who will get to it first. Tipped by Perry, and that one's a souvenir. Into the lower bowl here at Honda Center.
Corey Perry, over the course of the last 3.5 seasons, got more goals, more points against the San Jose Sharks than any other player in the NHL does. So Enough for a couple of big-time Niemi saves in the opening minutes. He would have added to that total.
Perry without a goal in his last 4 games, which doesn't sound like much, but the way he was going, 22 goals in the first 37 games, that almost suffices as a dry spell. Brown gets it on net, and Hiller pokes it away. In that time frame, though, Corey Perry has 5 assists as we get an icing call at the other end of the ice.
We talked about Corey Perry's start and the fact that he's actually ahead of the pace. The season that he scored 50 in the National Hockey League, he is notoriously a second-half player in terms of putting up big numbers.
Palmieri had it knocked off his stick at the line, but Bonino follows up, and here come the Ducks to center. Vatanen joins the rush. Bolesky gets the line. Trying to get it across, and Palmieri bumps with Irwin as he runs it down in the corner. Back to the line, and now the open man is Allen off the boards, looking for a tip. Bolesky, again, got his stick on it, but he knifed it wide of the goal. Puck held in by Bonino, and Bolesky brings it through the shrapnel of the broken stick and got it on net. Now Allen in the high slot, just wide. Bonino again recovers from Maroon right off the bench, steps in front, Niemi denies.
Nice pass by Nick Bonino. You know, he heard the little yell from Pat Maroon coming off the bench. He spun around, put it right on his tape.
Maroon protects the puck into the San Jose zone. It goes through Solani and around. Kearns and Perreault battle for it. Perreault got there first for Taman. Solani turns on his forehand, gives it to Maroon. Into the middle comes Beauchemin, back to the line. Lindholm, it's chopped at, straight up in the air and batted out of the zone. Pressure from Kennedy as Beauchemin goes back and gets it. It would have been a hand pass had the Sharks gotten there first. Now Demers busts in. His shot deflected wide by Hampus Lindholm. Into the middle, and big hit there on Kearns as he tried to step in on Lindholm. High shot bounces off the glass, and Hamilton swings and misses. Solani flips it right on goal, and Niemi forced a hold as Maroon came in.
Ducks with a couple of opportunities here. Matt Bolesky is right on the doorstep. Ryan Allen's shot comes through. The rebound is there for a split second, and Boyle and Bolesky duel for it. Bolesky can't put it on the net. There's that spin-a-rama pass from Nick Bonino that springs Pat Maroon, but the big goaltender Niemi gets the paddle of the stick down early. And there's really no shooting angle for Maroon to go up top.
Maroon had the Ducks goal on Sunday night at San Jose. Now has 3 points in his last 5 games. Of course, he's been in and out of the lineup. Winnick behind the net, gets it to the front. Cogliano, though, is the third man high, so he had retreated. And Marleau leads it the other way. A big hit on Couture, and now the hitting picking up as Allen on top of Nieto. Puck the other way to center. Cogliano and Koivu. Koivu cuts against the grain on the backhand, gets it to the net, deflected, never got to Niemi.
Sami Vatanen has been perhaps Anaheim's most physical defender in this game.
Nieto's shot partially blocked, got to Hiller, who steers it to the corner. Braun all the way below the hash marks, got it. Marleau's pass off the skate of Allen, and Marleau got it on the far side, but Hiller smothered it. Things are picking up at Honda Center in a tie game.
Well, if you are a fan of close calls, you've got your money's worth in this game tonight. That was Sami Vatanen on the goal line denying Patrick Marleau. Here's the one that went through Hiller. He makes a great stop. And then the Sharks run out of time late in the opening period. And then this is one of the strangest plays I've ever seen. Antti Niemi almost kicks it back into his own net after it bounces off the top of the goal frame. Exciting hockey game, and the Ducks, I think, will be much happier, John, with the way that they have played thus far in this second period.
Silverberg trying to battle his way into the San Jose zone, does get it below the goal line, now gets it back. Finds the open man, Lovejoy, sticked away by Niemi. Perry gets to the far boards to seal it off. Trying to drag it away from Thornton, and Silverberg swats it back. Lovejoy once more. Again, tipped on the way and never got to the San Jose net. Getzlaf hinges it back through neutral ice. Fowler's pass through the middle, off the stick of Perry, and cleared back. Lovejoy tied up the stick of Stewart, and Silverberg able to come over with pick up the puck. Angles it off the boards, but Perry is offside.
Yeah, Corey Perry says that he got back onside, then went in after that loose puck. The linesman disagrees.
Mike Civic just flat out doesn't believe him. Impress your friends and family by hosting the ultimate party this year at a suite for a Ducks game here at Honda Center. Food and drink now included in all suites. Call 714-634-2582 or go to hondacenter.com/suites. Vatanen intercepts in the Anaheim zone, and he's flushed as he has to keep skating behind the net and then reverses it to no one in general. Shepard got to it, rolls it right into the goal crease, sticked away by Hiller, and a quick up finds Palmieri from Brian Allen. On his own, and he just gets steamrolled by Demers. From the seat of his pants, he keeps it alive for Cogliano. Vatanen looks up, got the shot through, and Niemi on his knees to find it and holds on.
Now, that was a nice play by Brian Allen. He got that puck back to the blue line, and everybody thought he was going to shoot, and then he whips the lateral pass to Sami Vatanen, who gets the shot through easily. Pushing and shoving. Here's Brian Allen. He'll get the head up. And the importance of zipping that pass across. It makes all the difference in the world because the person who catches it, in this case his defense partner, Sami Vatanen, has a split second extra before he releases the shot. I like the fact that Brian Allen, one of the bigger, more physical deterrents in the Ducks lineup, has a little bit of a conversation with some San Jose players as they make their way back to the bench.
He and Mike Brown discussing things. 11:56 to go, middle period. Things have evened up here after a fast start for the Sharks. Shots 22-19 now in favor of San Jose. Game tied at 1. Getzlaf trying to sneak it in front, gets it back, hoists the backhand, a rebound, Silverberg. He got about 3 cracks at it, and Niemi kept it out.
Oh, great stop. Niemi, I don't think ever saw the initial backhanded shot by Getzlaf, but found it through a crowd.
Ducks keep the pressure on. Getzlaf in front, off the stick of Perry. He gets it back from behind the net. Tries to stuff it on the wraparound. He says he scored. Niemi got the whistle. And where have I seen this before?
A little sense of deja vu. I don't believe that this puck ever goes into the net, however. Antti Niemi is a big, strong, heavy goaltender. About 220 pounds, John, and he holds that leg up against the short side post. Corey Perry thought he was off balance. Niemi does a great job of getting across. Look at him jamming away, but the right leg of Antti Niemi is jammed up against the post. It's a good stop by the Shark netminder.
Fowler filters one through off a leg. It trickled just wide with Winnick screening. Cogliano into the goal crease. His stick tied up. Oh! His backhander just missed it. He paid a heavy price. Winnick gets it, cycles it back. Koivu behind the net. On his backhand, brings it in front, tries to curl it back on net, blocked by Pavelski. Fowler will hold it in. The open man, Lovejoy, throws it to the net, and that's punched away by Pavelski. Sharks clear, and Burns gets it across the stripe.
The Ducks doing a much better job in this period of forcing the Sharks' top line of Joe Thornton to play in their own end.
Cogliano pulls up, gets it towards the net. It hit Marlowe, and he skates the other way. Throws it ahead at center. A nice play by Fowler to pull it back and find Maroon to the front of the net, and Niemi is there to seal it off. It couldn't come through for Solani, who was lurking at the far post.
Ducks are throwing a lot more pucks into the vicinity of Antti Niemi. He's done a good job of locating pucks through screens. There's Koivu down, just zipping it into the front of the net. And boy, Andrew Cogliano just got clocked by Brent Burns.
And he just missed on the backhand as well. Perreault wins the faceoff. Postma puts it in front, blockered away, and punched out by Niemi, and the Sharks clear the hard way. This is icing. So for the last 2 or 3 minutes, all the play has been in the San Jose zone.
Yeah, Bruce Boudreau probably feeling at least a little bit more comfortable. His team has picked it up, and maybe it's just his end, but the ice is starting to appear slightly tilted in favor of his Ducks.
Perreault is his ace face-off man, and he's set to take this one. And Mike Civic is going to kick Hamilton out of the circle, excuse me. And Perreault wins the draw. Kennedy stepping in to take it in his place. And now it's Irwin who clears the zone for the Sharks. Nice cross ice pass by Lindholm, allows entry for Perreault. Hits the brakes and now reverses on Irwin. Maroon hits the cycle, gets it back, walks it right into the goal crease, and Niemi had to stay with him, and then it's whipped right back through by Beauchemin.
I love that play by Patrick Maroon. Take the puck, jam it into the crease area.
Maroon works the dasher board, and he's going to do it again. Off his stick, Solani comes in. Couldn't get a shot away. Niemi wanted to cover it up. He couldn't. Beauchemin doesn't have anywhere to go with it. Up the boards. Perreault keeps it moving for Maroon. He's been too hard to handle for San Jose tonight. Patrick Maroon. And now Solani. Perreault wants to change. Keeps it going for Maroon. Out of the corner. Now he lays it back. Getzlaf's pass in front just sneaks out of the reach of Beauchemin, who is below the goal line. It bounces right back to the captain. He lays it back for Silverberg, a backhander, fought off, big rebound. Comes back to Getzlaf, he hammers it. It's right there, Beauchemin scores! He was out there forever.
And so were the Sharks. They were trapped. They had nothing left in the tank to defend against, and Francois Beauchemin just kind of muscles this one across the line. The Ducks were able to get all kinds of pressure and get fresh troops on the ice. Getzlaf jumped over the boards. They got the pressure on, and this time they win the battles for the loose pucks, and the San Jose just didn't have anything left. The two-pad stack is a move that you don't see very often, and Beauchemin seemed to squeeze that right through the pads of Niemi.
His first of the year is the second lead of the night for the Ducks, and it's 2-1. Thornton out of his own zone for Stewart. Stretched ahead, and Pavelski got a touch, so no icing. Hiller has to stay put. Hard-charging Brent Burns wins the puck battle. Fowler takes it back, though. And ahead, he'll move it for Perry. Right wide offside is Silverberg. So he'll get onside as play continues.
John, that was a great defensive play by Cam Fowler against a much bigger Brent Burns. He uses those legs, gets to the loose puck, and skates it out of harm's way.
The Ducks were being outshot 15-3 in this game. They now outshot the Sharks 29-22. Since then, a 26-7 shot advantage. Nieto tripped up and a penalty coming up. Francois Beauchemin, they're both going to go. I think they're going to take Nieto for the dive.
Yeah. And I think they got this one right. Beauchemin would definitely agree.
Welcome back to Honda Center. Ducks on top by a score of 2-1. Andrew, you broke into the National Hockey League with the Edmonton Oilers, and since then you have not missed a hockey game, 500 straight. They call players like you Iron Men. What does that mean to you?
You know what? I think I try to take care of myself off the ice and do the right things, and but also a lot has to play into it. And I just want to play every game possible, and you always want to be on the ice helping your teammates and winning games, and I've been fortunate to do that.
Thanks for the time.
Yep, thank you.
John?
Here's a look at the penalty. Thank you, Lisa. Nieto is tripped by Beauchemin, but then when he kicks his feet out, he's called for the embellishment. So we're going to play a little bit of 4-on-4 hockey here.
Frustration for Francois Beauchemin after the initial penalty call. He came back as Nieto got up and gave him quite a pop. So 4-on-4 for the first time tonight, and a pass across from Koivu intended for Cogliano, intercepted by Marc-Edouard Vlasic. Marleau onside, leads it back. Here's Couture. He scores. What a shot.
What a shot, what a pass. to spring Logan Couture. Wow, what a pass and what a finish by Couture.
We talked about the confidence goal scorers get. Couture had gone 11 games without a goal before Sunday.
Yeah, and he just puts this under the bar. Jonas Hiller caught perhaps a little bit deep in his crease. I don't think it would have mattered. Look at that pass by Marleau to Couture. Puck kind of rolling a little bit, John, and that is off the bar, off the back of the leg of Jonas Hiller. The initial shot does not go in. It's off the crossbar, off the back of the goaltender and in.
So 2 goals in 2 games for Couture and a 4-on-4 goal, something the Sharks have struggled with this season. -2 in 4-on-4 hockey before that, but they've tied it up. Now Lovejoy in full flight. Looking for Perry in front. That's deflected across. Fowler decides to hold it in. So still another minute left in the coincidental minors.
Shots are 29-23. Then we get over 6.5 minutes left in this second period.
Stewart across the line for James Shepard. Former Minnesota Wild hits the brakes on the boards. Pass across broken up by Perry. Sharks send it back in. Fowler there to get it. And under duress, he reverses it for Lovejoy. The new father takes a look as the Ducks get changes, and now he'll head back behind the goal.
Yeah, this is the right thing to do. This is called a regroup. Use the net. Get everybody set.
Hard off the glass into the San Jose zone. Bonino got it back to Palmieri. He dusts it off. Cross ice, Vatanen takes it off the boards, and then he gets hammered by Shepard. Minnesota penalty coming up against the Sharks. I looked. I didn't initially think there was a call. The Ducks will go on the power play.
Sammy Vatanen got crushed in the corner on a hit by James Shepard. There was nothing wrong with the hit, but the follow-through of Shepard as he comes over the top right here with his stick, makes contact with the head of Vatanen, and that is what the referee saw. Vatanen, the contact was also partially his own stick that was knocked back into his face by Shepard. So opportunity here for the Ducks.
There's 1 second left in the penalties. Hiroshima and Nieto, they're out of the box now, so it'll be a 5-on-4 power play from here forward. The Ducks 0 for 1 with the extra man. A chance to regain the lead, a lead they've had twice. Tied at 2 with 5:40 to go, second period. Fowler on his horse. Hard around and Getzlaf hit by Stewart. Couture comes in. Up the wall, Bonino bring it to the middle of the ice. Getzlaf, they're set up now. Takes a look. And he skates for a minute. Now they converge upon him. Tries to drop it back. Silverberg wins it to Bonino. Finds an open Fowler. Shot blocked. Getzlaf gets it back. And Bonino's shot tipped to the corner by Silverberg. He recovers it for Fowler. Open is Getzlaf. Near circle. Ever patient. The captain takes a look. Throws it to the net. Tip. Back rebound. Score! What an effort by Bonino!
This is shaping up to be at Honda Center. The Sharks finally get a power play goal, and the Ducks respond with one of their own. And it took a lot of second effort from a number of players for this puck to end up in the back of the net. Getzlaf, ever patient, trying to slide it down. It looks like he's trying to get it to Perry, but the puck is deflected en route. The rebound comes to Bonino, and he wins a battle to get that puck over the line. Stewart was draped all over his back. Great effort by Bonino. And Anaheim restores a 1-goal lead.
Right, these teams combined for 7.5 games to go 1 for 47 on the power play. Now they go 2 for 2 here in the second period. So it's 3-2. Anaheim has their third lead of the night. And this crowd is into it. Bonino has his 11th of the year. Getzlaf has his first point in the last 3 games. Vatanen chased behind the Anaheim goal. Brings it on the near side and backhands it ahead. Maroon able to bump Demers to get the puck out of the zone. Busting back in is Shepard. Forced wide and in behind the net by Vodman. Mike Brown digging at it. And Maroon. Well, he's a big body. Just kicks it along the dasher to the corner. To the line, Vlasic has it hop his stick.
We were talking to Bruce Boudreau yesterday after practice, and he said, how can I possibly take Patrick Maroon out of the game? He was arguably the Ducks' best player in the game at San Jose.
Lobbed into the San Jose zone. Winnick can't run it down. Burns has it forced back in, and as Winnick touches up now, he pressures. Boyle sends it to the other side. It's Pavelski. Boyle across the line, winds and fires. A glove save by Jonas Hiller.
Well, a great stop by Jonas Hiller. Go back to the Anaheim power play. I want to show you something. Bruce Boudreau talks a lot about puck recoveries and the effort that goes into making that a reality. Watch this puck recovery here by Silfverberg. Dives, uses his body to defend, and all of a sudden the Ducks regain possession and are back on the attack. Eventually, they score a power play goal, and the Sharks can never get the puck out. Those little things make all the difference in the world. So a great second effort by Silfverberg. He doesn't show up on the scoreboard, but it's still a terrific play by him.
And that power play goal snaps a string of 22 consecutive Anaheim power plays without scoring. And it stretched the last 8+ games. 3-2 Ducks with 3:10 to go, second period. This one has not been for the faint of heart. And that includes the fans who have to keep their head on a swivel. As Boschman's dump in is deflected into the crowd.
3:02 left in this second period. Cello crowd at Honda Center has been treated to one whale of a hockey game so far this evening. A seesaw battle.
Second straight sellout here at Honda Center as the Ducks start bringing it back home. And they're going to play roughly 60% of their games down the stretch here in the second half, which begins for them here tonight. Game number 42, the final game of the 2013 calendar year. Ducks hoping to finish the 2013 calendar year at home without a regulation loss. Perry from behind the net can't drag it around Stewart. Stewart's been good tonight. Into the middle, gets long. There's just not a lot of time and space out there.
Well, it's a completely different period in terms of where the big lines have played. Played by Lovejoy.
Getzlaf, that man's the other way. Broken up at the line by Demers. On to center, strikes again. Another weird bounce off the stanchions. Lovejoy breaks his stick. His stick didn't break, it exploded. Desjardins tried to go on it, but Getzlaf gets to it first. Off the boards for Bolesky. He keeps it deep, and Desjardins goes back after it. Mike Brown loses the puck. Bonino trying to get it into the middle. And it's battled out of the zone by Shepard. Minute 35 to go in the period as Bonino breaks up the pass from Desjardins. Brings it in front. Feeds it far post. Score! Bolesky battles it across the line.
Huge goal for the Ducks. And it comes just moments after Ben Lovejoy makes a diving save after Hiller was caught out of the net. What a play by the defenseman Lovejoy. Then Nick Bonino forces a turnover. He sticks with it, walks it to the front, and slides it down to the crease. And Matt Bolesky just kind of spins, and he's going to shovel this puck under Antti Niemi. But great play by Bonino. He saw Palmieri attacking. Bolesky was there as well. This one is Bolesky's goal.
Well, the Ducks are getting some command performances tonight. Nick Bonino, Matt Bolesky. And they have a 4-2 lead. Bolesky has a goal and an assist tonight, as does Bonino now. For the first time tonight, these teams separated by more than a goal. 4-2 Ducks. Winnick gets center red and gets it in. We're down to under a minute in the period. The centering pass smothered by Niemi as Cogliano got to that puck first.
Mepaleski, part of the reason why he was inserted into the lineup is that Boudreau wanted a more physical type of game from his forwards. He wanted more body contact. When he chips in with a goal and his hard work gets rewarded, I think it just gives everyone on that bench a huge lift.
5 points in the last 8 games for Mepaleski, including his goal here tonight. 57.8 seconds remaining, and Getzlaf wins the draw cleanly. Lovejoy hard across, Fowler at the line, keeps it in. Perry from behind the net. Silverberg off the back of the net. Braun gets to it and around for Joe Pavelski. Pavelski's pass to Braun. He's onside. He'll wind and fire in and out of Hiller's glove. Taken behind the net by Silverberg and hard off the boards and out. Half a minute to go in a very adventurous second period. It was 1-0 after 1 Ducks. And the offense has broken through here in the second. 4-2 Anaheim. 15 seconds to go in the period as Getzlaf gains the line. Long wrist shot kicked away by Niemi.
Oh, big rebound. No problem for Braun to clear that out of harm's way. But boy, what a great period of hockey this was.
Brown turns from behind the net and fires after the horn. And that will get tempers flaring in the slot in front of the Anaheim net.
Maroon is there. Brown will do everything he can to try and get Ryan Getzlaf off the ice. But Getzlaf's not biting. And the Ducks have got a 2-0 lead. And the offense has come alive. Boy, that power play goal was just enormous from an emotional standpoint for this Ducks team.
4 goals in a span of 7.5 minutes in the second period, and the Ducks get 3 of them, including the power play goal by Bonino to give them their 3rd lead of the night. And then after that, Mepaleski would get 1 as well. A seesaw battle has seesawed back Anaheim's way through 2. All rights to this broadcast are reserved, and any rebroadcast, recording, retransmission, or other use of this broadcast without the express written consent of the Anaheim Ducks is expressly prohibited. Ducks on top 4-2 after 2 periods of play at Honda Center. We look at our Honda highlights from the middle frame.
Yeah, lots of them. 5 goals to show you, as a matter of fact. First one is Dan Boyle just rips this puck up into the top corner. That was a power play goal for the Sharks, and they got him right back into this hockey game. The Ducks think that they have taken the lead. Look at Antti Niemi. What a break for him. Kicks it back. It's off the post. It stays out. But Anaheim kept coming, and boy, what a play this was. Francois Beauchemin joins the rush, sneaks down to the top of the goal crease, and bangs home a short rebound. What a pass. Marleau to Logan Couture. And the young man looks like he is heating up for the San Jose Sharks. Bonino, power play goal. Huge for the Ducks, who restores the 1-goal lead for them. And then Ben Lovejoy keeps it at a 1-goal lead for the Ducks with a brilliant second effort. And then the forecheck takes over. Nick Bonino forces a turnover, chips it down low. Matt Mepaleski backhands it home. 4-2 lead, but you just get the feeling, John, in a game like this, that this one is not going to end 4-2.
Yeah, you don't get the feeling we're done here. 4 different Ducks with multi-point games through 2 periods. Fowler and Getzlaf each have 2 assists. Mepaleski and Bonino each with a goal and an assist. And we're underway in the 3rd period. Loose puck to the near boards, and Cogliano pressures, forcing Stewart to just chop it back. Marleau first to it, just inside the Anaheim strike. Patrick Marleau, dangerous all night. 5 shots on goal through the first 2 periods. Corey Perry has 5 as well. And Patrick Maroon, in very limited playing time, he had 4 shots on goal in just under 8 minutes of ice time. Marleau pestered as he goes across the high slot, and then he dropped it back and went right through Joe Thornton. The league leader in assists, Thornton, winds it back around into the Anaheim zone. He has 1 helper so far tonight. And he shovels it to the line. Vlasic's shot just wide, looking for a tip from Pavelski. Getzlaf goes cross ice to clear. Excuse me, Brian.
Well, John, I'll say it again. The Ducks made this line play in their own end in the second period. They started off playing in Anaheim's end.
Getzlaf gets a step from Perry. He scores! What a shot!
I am flashing back to the great Lanny McDonald. This is a Lanny McDonald type shot from Ryan Getzlaf. Watch him tuck it into his wheelhouse and just snap it with those powerful wrists. And it's inside the far post, and it beats Antti Niemi cleanly. What a shot by Getzlaf. I mean, it comes off the stick blade, and it is a rocket.
His 20th of the season, and did he pick a corner? He also calls it a night for Antti Niemi. He was making his way over to the San Jose bench where he will be spelled by Alex Stalock with 18:46 remaining in the hockey game. Getzlaf's marker makes it 5-2, and fans, that means Hooters will give you 5 free wings. Go to AnaheimDucks.com/now. I should say AnaheimDucks.com/Hooters. And print the coupon. It will be redeemable in any Southern California Hooters location for the next 24 hours. And this place is alive. You and I were talking during the intermission, Brian. It's been a great hockey game. It's starting to get nasty. The crowd is into it. I mean, it's the Sharks that gets them going enough. This one's batted out of play, I think, off an Anaheim stick. And we may get a delay of game call.
Well, we do. It's going to be Matt Bolesky. Puck was up in the air. He just swatted at it. And it's going to cost him a couple of minutes as a result. So no time to celebrate just yet. The Sharks are going to get a power play. Here it is. Bolesky just flips at it with the stick blade and inadvertently pops it right over top of the glass.
So for the Sharks, their third power play chance of the night, they're 1 for 2. And a chance to get it back to a 2-goal game right away. Boyle, who has the power play goal, misfires on a one-timer. And Fowler wins the puck out of the corner. Getzlaf clears it back.
And there again, another example of the maturation of Cam Fowler. He just waited, showed patience, brought someone towards him. Little backhand pass, and the Ducks are able to exit their zone shorthand.
Brian, I think we're watching him mature before our very eyes. I expect him to go to the Olympics for the United States. And in the second half, I just think it's more of the same. This one right into the goal crease, and Marleau got to it, but Hiller's able to keep it out. He can't cover it. Boström comes away with it. Oh, he tried to make a little pass to Cogliano. And now here's Koivu in on a breakaway from center ice. Stalock just came in, and he makes the save. Cogliano scores on the rebound.
The Sharks point men gambling and losing on this exchange. They get a couple of chances right down on the doorstep. This time it's Hiller's turn to jam that right leg up against the post. And then Koivu gets away from Logan Couture. Couture gambled, couldn't keep the puck in deep. Great stop by Stalock, but boy, where were the Sharks defenders? Rebound comes out, and Cogliano just slams it home.
Alex Stalock, a third-year man who played college hockey at Minnesota Duluth, with a rather rude welcome to this one here tonight at Honda Center. The Ducks have a shorthanded goal and a 6-2 lead. Irwin from behind the San Jose net, headman, and Bracken Kearns getting some power play time for what is obviously a very frustrated Todd McClellan. Clearing attempt up the middle by Perry doesn't get away, and Demers holds it in. Irwin, he's got a big shot, he scores!
John, Bracken Kearns was in front of the goaltender Hiller, and I think he may have got a touch on this puck. Perry tried to throw this puck up the middle. That one almost went into the back of the net. That was Nieto who knocked it down. And then Nieto kicks it back to Irwin. That puck is redirected. It changes direction. What does it hit? Here's the shot coming through. Yeah, it's the stick of Kearns. He reaches out and kind of pulls it back against the grain for his second career goal.
You know, Kearns was tied for the scoring lead in Worcester when he was recalled just a couple of days ago. And it's a wonderful story. 32 years of age. Sunday night, he picked up his first NHL goal. He made his NHL debut at age 30 with the Florida Panthers. And now he's got a goal-scoring streak. And it's 6-3. Shepard throws it on net, and Hiller has to pounce out on top. Brian, as a goaltender, games like this start getting away, and you just have to expect everything, don't you?
Well, you really do, because this one has been kind of chaotic from the outset. I mean, the opening period, it was a bunch of turnovers from the Ducks. It led to great scoring chances and some brilliant saves made by Jonas Hiller.
Yeah, and I'll go back to the shorthanded goal by Cogliano a moment ago, Brian. The Ducks got away with trying to make a play in the defensive zone just prior to breaking out on that shorthanded breakaway, where the heady play would have been to just ice the puck, but they got away with it that time. Perry didn't get away with it the second time. And we got a long way to go in this game.
We certainly do. You just don't feel, just by the nature of this game, neither team has been able to shut the other guy down. It's been scoring chance after scoring chance, a wildly entertaining game at Honda Center.
Number 38, Bracken Kearns.
Stewart knocks it down and sends it into the Anaheim zone. Gloved ahead, but not out by Brian Allen. I got the feeling Todd McClellan was sending a message when he put Bracken Kearns and Matt Nieto out on his power play. A little disgust after having given up the shorthanded goal.
John, that was close to being played inside the trapezoid there by Stalock.
But the different personnel worked out for McClellan. And now Maroon forced to just jam it down. This will go the length of the ice, and icing will be called. Just over 4 minutes into a chaotic third period. Coming up later this season at Fan Appreciation Night here at Honda Center, you could be the big winner of the 2014 Honda Odyssey. You can sign up now. Log on to AnaheimDucks.com/Honda Odyssey. You must be 18 years of age. Perreault with a clean face-off win in the defensive zone, and as it squirts into the middle, Lindholm careful, but he tries to move it away. Here's Marleau. Quick shot went wide. Couture trying to set him up. And now Maroon does clear the zone, and the Ducks will get changes.
One of the few turnovers, glaring turnovers made by Hampus Lindholm, John, this season.
Cogliano moments ago with his first shorthanded goal of the year and his 12th overall of the season. Now Lindholm trying to reverse it. And a little more chaos in the Anaheim zone. Burns pulls it off the boards, gets it to the net. Miller made the save, and the rebound fluttered out of the zone by Lindholm. Ducks change, Sharks right back in. Here's Burns. Lets it go and have it blocked. Pavelski behind the net. In front off the skate of Thornton. And hammered wide by Lovejoy.
They are coming, the Sharks defense.
Boyle fakes, then takes the shot. Only to have it blocked.
That's off the inside of the foot of Getzlaf, and that one took a bite out of the captain.
Perry with a big collision. And the puck into the middle of the ice. Getzlaf gets it from Winnick. Ducks change as they go three abreast into the San Jose zone. Perry gets to it. Pinned to the boards by Irwin, and back comes Shepard. A long bid that is held by Jonas Hiller.
If I'm Jonas Hiller, I am grabbing on to every single puck I can. I want to slow the pace down as much as is humanly possible. Ryan Getzlaf, over talking to the trainer Joe Hopp. Here's why. Dan Boyle rips it. Getzlaf takes it right off the top of the right foot. Ouch. See him kind of walking around, trying to put a little bit of weight on that foot.
Off the face-off. Shot trickles through to Hiller, and he covers it up. Off the stick of Justin Braun.
It's always the risk when you have your top players out on the penalty kill in particular. The forwards tend to get into the shooting lanes and block a lot of shots. But the skate technology has really improved in the last few years. And the old leather skates anymore. Almost, in some ways, more like ski boots. And they offer a lot more protection, and players break their feet a lot less frequently than in the old days.
Sharks continue to push. Down 6-3 with 13:50 to go. Stewart slides it across. Braun returns the favor. Stewart's shot tipped on the way just wide. Mike Brown to the corner after. Shepard steps in. Bonino keeping him to the outside. Pokes it off his stick. Desjardins keeps it going. Shepard unable to bring it to the front of the net. Desjardins now back to the line. Justin Braun takes it off the boards. Desjardins hooks it into the middle. Nothing but black sweaters there. Allen hard up the wall. Off of Bolesky, not out. Braun skates below the goal line. Ducks are tired. Stewart's open at the point. Keeps it deep.
It is a war going on in front of the Anaheim goal crease right now. The Ducks get the clear, but a lot of hard work went into getting that clear.
Palmieri just feathers it in, and quick up for Nieto. Tries to curl into the middle, and Boschma kicks it away. Winnick gets it across the line. Cogliano back to Winnick. And that's off the defender and out of play.
May have caught a bit of the shaft of the stick of the goaltender Stalock. Great scoring chance for Daniel Winnick. A lot going on in this third period, that's for sure. It started with a great outlet pass to Ryan Getzlaf. The Ducks have been under pressure, but then Getzlaf made it 5-2. The lead was expanded to 6-2. It's a 2-on-0 breakaway, and Cogliano cashes in the rebound, but then Bracken Kearns gets to the front of the net. Nifty little redirect to make it a 6-3 hockey game.
And still 12:39 remains. And the way this one has gone since the final 8 minutes of the second period, that's a long way to go. No icing here as Burns will run it down. Tries to drop it back. Open is Pavelski, and he couldn't get the shot away. Vlasic does. Silverberg chases it down and sends it around. Silverberg off to the races as Getzlaf gets it to him. Drop pass to Fowler. Back to Silverberg off the heel of his stick.
Good try. Good try. They had the defenseman, Demers, kind of spun around there, and he could not locate that pass that came across to Jakob Silverberg. Fowler almost fooled him.
This game had 2 goals in the first 31 minutes. It has 7 goals in the last 17 minutes. Perreault in on the forecheck, trying to force it in front, and Maroon couldn't quite get there. Vlasic around the board. Solani intercepts it. Taylor works below the goal line along with Patrick Maroon. Back to the corner. Hamilton took a little run at it. Maroon joins the fray. Perreault drops down to come up with it. Strides to the corner and finds an open man. Vatanen at the point. His wrist shot deflected. Solani almost got to it off the end boards. Hamilton into the Anaheim zone. Backhands it in deep. Allen pressured by Kearns. Jams it to Maroon, who drops down in the corner. Solani along the boards, couldn't find the handle, and then can't clear past Irwin. Kearns has it again for Boyle, tipped on the way. Didn't have much left by the time it got to the side of the net. Maroon clears to center. The Ducks will roll a chain. Desjardins hard around and in. Vatanen pressure, lets it come through. Bolesky sneaks it up the boards, not out. Shepard fires it across. Irwin pinches. San Jose defenseman from in behind the goal all the way out now for Boyle. Back to Irwin. He was flat-footed, and his shot is deflected. Stays in the barn as it went off the stick of Nick Bonino.
John, two San Jose players just stationed in front of Jonas Hiller pretty much this entire shift.
Getting ugly, and play goes on. Boyle measures it, can't take it. Behind the back for Desjardins. His shot off the stick of Oshie. Brown tries to wrap it around right through the goal crease. Short pass to Bonino, who sand wedges it out of harm's way. Now it's a foot race. Palmieri pressures along with Bolesky. Slashing penalty on Matt Bolesky. We are halfway through the third period. Sharks on the power play when we come back.
Well, Matt Bolesky got a little bit over-exuberant as he was trying to create a scoring chance, and watch the chop. Knocks the stick out of the hands of Dan Boyle. It would have led to a clean scoring chance for Bolesky, and that's an obvious call for the referee to make. So Sharks with another power play chance here with just under 10 remaining.
Brian, you called this game wildly entertaining. Somehow, the look on the coaches' faces doesn't tell me they agree. Fourth power play of the night for the Sharks. They're 2 for 3. They've also given up a shorthanded goal. The teams couldn't score on one another for 8 games on the power play. Now they combine for 3. Getzlaf gets to the loose puck.
The captain Getzlaf on that Dan Boyle bid right from the middle of the ice.
70 shots on goal, 9 goals in this game. Now Thornton whips it across. Handled by Marleau. He'll angle it back for Boyle. And Couture and Pavelski round out the power play. McClellan has all his big guns out on this power play, and this one's in the netting, out of play.
Yeah, another block shot, this time Brian Allen. That big reach of his is such an effective weapon on the penalty kill. A smile on the face of Allen, but you can see that pulling it into the middle with Joe Thornton, and Allen says, I think he was trying to sell it that the Sharks shot that puck directly out of play, but maybe that was the reason for the smile.
Still a minute remains in the San Jose power play. Ducks win the draw, and Getzlaf gets to it on the near wall and clears.
A good touch on that pass along the boards by Francois Beauchemin.
Ryan Getzlaf had gone without a point the last 2 games. He has a goal and 2 assists tonight, and he's been very important on the penalty kill. This one in particular, he's cleared the zone twice. It's Bonino's turn this time.
Bonino makes those good, strong plays with his stick. Got a very quick stick. He has the ability to spin. Very useful move from him.
Burns brings it to the front. His pass across, tipped away by Allen. Irwin's shot blocked by Winnick, who goes down selflessly in front of it. Irwin across now for Braun. His shot wide. Both of these defensemen on the ice right now for San Jose play college hockey at the University of Massachusetts. This puck gloved the length of the ice by Silverberg. And out of the box is Bolesky, the Ducks full strength. 7:45 to go in the game, a 3-goal lead for the Ducks. Brown forgot something as he came across the line, over skating the puck. Perreault trying to angle it ahead for Solani. Loose puck to Brown behind the Anaheim goal as Fowler couldn't get to it. Mike Brown kicks it all the way to the near corner. Desjardins comes in, working feverishly as Fowler falls as he jabs into the corner. Lovejoy wins it ahead to Solani. Maroon can't glove that pass down as Perreault comes racing in. Desjardins didn't see the puck. It was behind him on a delayed offside. Solani has time. Taylor from center. Across the line on right wing. Now the Ducks changing. He lays it back and Lindholm chips it deep.
Almost at that point where Anaheim will start to work on what coaches call the automatics, making sure you get the center red line, get the puck deep, especially when you've got a a 2 or a 3 goal lead. You want to make your opponent skate 200 feet every time they get the puck.
Now it's Palmieri. And there's the wise play. Just get it deep. Molesky does the same. Off the back of the San Jose goal. Bonino gets to it. To the line, Bolshevik. Across and mishandled by Lindholm, who just shovels it below the goal line. Precious time for the San Jose Sharks, whittling away in the process.
Anytime you can force your opponent to just dump the puck out, it's a small victory for the Ducks.
Demers forced to reverse it as we're under 6 to go at Honda Center. Anaheim looking to start the year with 17 at home without a regulation loss. Since the advent of the shootout, only one team has had more than that. It was the San Jose Sharks who started 20-0-2 back in 05-06 at home. Vatanen may have gotten away with a little interference there.
That was very, very close.
The Ducks break out. Getzlaf diagonally across, out of the reach of Stalock. We're just joining us, Alex Stalock, with his first appearance against the Ducks in his 8th game this year. Spelled Antti Niemi just over a minute into the third period. Turnover at center, and Getzlaf feeds it back in.
You know, I really like these last minutes from the Ducks here, John. A lot of structure, a lot of smart, safe plays.
Lovejoy waits, doesn't take the shot, now does. That's over top. Hit the referee, and Braun clears. Offside the call as Cogliano touched it. And we're under 5 to go on New Year's Eve. The Ducks get close to celebrating. As promised earlier in the game, time for Miller Time is brought to you by Miller Lite. In a game with 9 goals, you wouldn't think it's an early save by a defenseman.
Sammy Vatanen kind of snuck in behind Jonas Hiller. Patrick Marleau beating the goaltender, thought he had scored the opening goal of the hockey game, but Vatanen was there to deny him. Smart play by the young defenseman.
The 6 goals scored tonight equals the season high for Anaheim. They have done it on 4 separate occasions. The last time they did it was in a win here at Honda Center against the Buffalo Sabres back on the 8th of November. Allen loses an edge behind the Anaheim goal. And now Brown works in the corner. Pass back off the heel of Stewart's stick into the middle of the ice. Justin Braun beats Solani to it. Off of Allen's stick back into the Anaheim zone. And Andrew Desjardins kicks it along the base of the dasher. Time becoming an ally of the Anaheim Ducks as the clock winds down to 4:05. And Maroon, who's had another strong game tonight, flips it into the San Jose zone, gets to it. And with one hand on the stick, still possesses it. He and Solani were both right there. Whips it down low, and it bounces away from Bonino.
He looked like he was trying to tap that puck over to Teemu Solani and just couldn't make contact.
Motion of battles with Kearns down low. Bracken Kearns with another goal tonight for San Jose, making a case to stay up with the big club. But it's the Ducks who win the puck. Racing in is Palmieri over top of the goal. Stalock was way out. Sharks bring it back to center. Irwin stick handles through everybody, and then his shot blocked. Got his own rebound and missed on the short side. Jason Demers serves it below the goal line. Marleau trying to chip it in front. Hamilton collects it. Former 5th-round draft pick, Freddie Hamilton. To the line, Demers over for Vlasic. Walks it into the middle. Got a pass through, and Lindholm with a good job going to one knee to make the save. Vlasic misses on the short side. Nieto pursues. Demers steps up. Puck kept in. Off the post from Couture.
No way did Jonas Hiller ever see that shot by Logan Couture, and he ripped it.
Offside are the Sharks as Demers and Perry need a little help being separated, and I think we got a penalty coming up against them. Is it against the Ducks, or are we going to get coincidental?
Well, here's that shot by Logan Couture with the traffic in front. You see Marleau was there, Bolshevik was there. No way that Hiller ever saw that shot, and Couture disappointed that he didn't pull his team within a couple of goals in this game. He's been good tonight.
Here's a penalty on Matt Bolesky. Demers is coming in, and he's got the elbow up a little bit. I'm not exactly sure what the call was there.
It's marginal against Matt Bolesky. Demers, I'm sure, may have sold that one just a little bit. Still selling it.
Slashing again, the call on Bolesky. So it's the 5th power play of the night for the Sharks. They're 2 for 4. Thornton from behind the net. Now Marleau covers the point, breaks his stick. Fowler wins the puck to the line, not out. Marleau, no, it did come out with a new stick, unable to hold it in.
So we got a tripping penalty coming up here against the Sharks, John.
Is it Joe Thornton?
Joe Thornton is going to go.
So actually the whistle coming on Marleau's touch, not because the puck was offside.
Here's a look at the trip against Thornton. Fowler trying to skate out of harm's way again, and Thornton clips him. And so we got 4-4, 2:17 remaining in this one. By the way, the Ducks, for more than 5 minutes now, since the Sharks have actually had a shot that made it through to Jonas Hiller. They've had a lot of attempted shots, a lot of blocks, a lot of what I'll call forced shots that end up wide of the net. So Anaheim is doing a good job in the shooting lanes and doing a nice job protecting this lead.
Couture hit a post, but that's not an official shot on goal. There was a teachable moment right there for Alex Stalock. We saw him come out of his crease, and the puck rimmed around that Zamboni corner and went right into the middle of the ice. Hiller had one roll up on his blocker. As for the second time tonight, it's 4-on-4 hockey for the next 60 seconds. The Sharks scored 4-on-4 earlier in this game. Both teams have power play goals. The Ducks have a shorty. San Jose has one 4-on-4. Suffice it to say, Brian, this game's had a little bit of everything. And with 1:20 to go, the Ducks are on the verge of going 15-0-2 at Honda Center this season.
And the exact measure of revenge, whether it's what they were looking for. Remember, San Jose actually won the last 4 meetings between these two teams. So this is a good one, a feel-good moment tonight for the Ducks.
As I mentioned, these teams don't play again until March the 20th. Nearly 3 months from now. So he wouldn't have wanted to wait 3 more months to exact that revenge. And now they're under a minute away from having it. Still 4-on-4 for another 5 seconds. Then Bolesky will come out. Here's Solani into the San Jose zone. Hits the brakes and has it knocked off his stick. Bolesky out of the box. Now the Ducks on a brief power play for 15 more seconds. But they're content to just keep the clock rolling here, as they're going to go back to 7 points up on the Sharks. Desjardins shot juggled by Hiller. Vatanen is there to cover up.
Yeah, that's the big key. The point differential in the Pacific and in the Western Conference with a favorable schedule for Anaheim. This really sets up well for them, John. They're trying to get separation. The Kings were losing in Dallas. The Sharks are going to go down to defeat tonight, so some valuable real estate gained by Anaheim with this victory.
Remember, San Jose does have a couple of games in hand, but with a 7-point lead, those games in hand don't come in to play quite as much as they would have had the Sharks gotten a regulation win tonight to cut the division lead to 3. 10.8 seconds, all that stands between the Ducks and a 15-0-2 start at home. And a good start to a 4-game homestand that will continue here on Friday against the Edmonton Oilers. Allen's shot is blocked. He'll take one more. Stalock punches it to the corner. It's out of play with 1.7 seconds left, and what remains of 17,424 will have to wait that long to celebrate and begin their New Year's celebration.
Boy, you think about this game, and we have 9 goals here tonight. And think about how many other close calls we had. This could have been a throwback game to the 1980s. Yeah.
That'll do it. Anaheim defeats the Sharks 6-3. They get offense all over the score sheet. The captain leads the way with a 3-point game, a goal and 2 assists. Jonas Hiller was spectacular early, and they continue their home dominance.
was a team effort. Another big team win by the Ducks. They get contributions from everyone in the lineup tonight, and they find a way to get it done against a team that had their number. But this was a convincing, the final two periods were convincing form on behalf of the Ducks.
6 different goal scorers tonight for Anaheim, and they defeat the Sharks by a score of 6-3. They finish the 2013 portion of the schedule perfect here at Honda Center. Plenty to choose from for tonight's 3-star selection as we listen in.
Now, here are tonight's 3 stars of the game as voted by the broadcast media and brought to you by Honda. Tonight's 3rd star of the game from the Ducks, number 6, Ben Lovejoy. Tonight's 2nd star of the game, with his 9th straight win from the Ducks, number 1, Jonas Hiller. And tonight's 1st star of the game, with a goal and 2 assists from the Ducks, the captain, number 15, Ryan Getzlaf.
Well, congratulations. The captain, Ryan Getzlaf, here with me now. A 3-point night, and the Anaheim Ducks improve at home to 15-0-2. How does that sound?
That sounds wonderful. Thank you, everyone, for showing up again tonight, and keep it moving here.
Of all the teams that you guys have had to defend, is this one of the tougher?
Yeah, they're a tough hockey team. They keep coming all night long, and our guys showed a lot of perseverance there in the 2nd period.
Is it remarkable to you at the halfway point of the season what you guys have been able to accomplish and all the adversity that you guys have gone through?
Well, we've accomplished some good things here, but ultimately the goal is to keep going here and finish as high as we can. So it's been a great first half. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing everyone in the 2nd half.
Ryan, thank you so much, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
All right, John, we'll have lots more reaction from the locker room coming up, but for now, back to you.
Thank you, Lisa. The Ducks do begin the New Year's celebration in style. Getzlaf with a big-time goal to begin the 3rd period. They win going away 6-3 over the Sharks. Stay tuned. Ducks Live is next. Happy New Year, everybody.